Investment advisory services offered through Independent Solutions Wealth Management and Blackridge Asset Management, LLC. Peak Broker Services, LLC is not an affiliate of Independent Solutions or Financial Guys, LLC.
You're listening to The Financial Guys.
We're $23 trillion in debt, honey. We don't have an extra surplus of money.
Newsflash, guys, stop attacking businesses, because when all the businesses are gone, nobody's going to pay your salary anymore. You get that?
If the goal is to create a loser mentality, you're winning.
I'm going to build a big, beautiful wall with a big, beautiful door. Well, guess what? We have a big, beautiful door, all right. It's the wide open southern border, right?
Yeah. Here's Glenn Wiggle and Mike Lomas.
All right, welcome back. You've got the Financial Guys podcast here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We do really appreciate it. I'm Glenn Wiggle here with Mike Lomas. This is a show where money meets politics. We're going to talk, again, a little bit about how money meets politics today. Probably a little bit more about money, perhaps. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it happens. But not sure exactly where to start. We got a lot of stuff. And, again, if you do like what you hear, folks, do us a favor. Hit the subscribe button below. You'll get all the alerts when new podcasts come out, when new videos come out. If you're watching this on YouTube, of course, we do have this in podcast format. You can download from iTunes, Spotify, Google, something or other, and every other place that you can find quality podcasts. If you are listening on a podcast, just know that this is also, oftentimes we release these in video form on YouTube. You can find the Financial Guys YouTube channel. All the stuff that we do as far as Instagram, our business, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. If you go to our website, thefinancialguys.com, that's the place where you'll find all the links for all the cool stuff that we're doing online and social media. And then, of course, you can ask us questions and find out what we actually do for a living, which is manage money. Where do you want to start?
Let's start out with Saturday, by the way. Andrew Pollack will be a special guest on our radio show. Andrew is the father of Meadow Pollack, who is the victim in the park, one of the victims in the Parkland shooting. And Andrew has been one of the ones who are not blaming the guns for the problem. He's actually trying to figure out what the problems were. And there was a multitude of problems, from the school district to the Obama administration failing, and some of the policies there, from the guards to the law enforcement to the school principal. I mean, so
all the way down.
He's going to talk about not blaming the guns, but really getting to the bottom of making the schools safer. And not to turn this into that show, it'll be Saturday, but it's amazing to me. You watch the Democrats, and they care more about gun control, basically, and taking guns out of good people's hands, but they haven't done crap to actually make the school districts safer. Well, they're not one thing to make them safer. Now, if you told these same Democrats, by the way, hey, you're going into a meeting for Congress and there's no metal detectors out front. You're going in, there's no armed guards out front. Not one of them would show up. Not one of those Democrats would walk into that building. But yet we send our kids into these schools every single day without not even 1/60th of the protection.
Right. So in his book, Why Meadow Died, he highlights all the different failures at every single level, from the school policies to government policies to the bureaucracies. It's a great book. You can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, a place like that. We'll be talking to him here on the podcast next week and live on the radio this coming Saturday, which I believe will be, what's the date on Saturday? 20th? 21st. So coming up this Saturday, September 21st, he'll be live on the radio for a segment or two. And then next week's podcast, he'll be our special guest for the entire podcast.
So looking forward to that, by the way. And his daughter was a hero. There was a police officer that was hiding, that his daughter was protecting a freshman. I think she was a senior, right? She was a senior. And she actually put her body over a freshman who unfortunately also passed away. And took 5 extra bullets.
It just makes you so angry. It just, when you hear about these failures and you realize that in the case of the FBI and law enforcement, 30 phone calls. 30. So for some reason, and I'm not going to make this a whole gun show, but just real quick, for some reason, the Democrats want everyone to lose their guns, everyone to turn them back in, and then make us reliant upon the government. The same government that took 30 phone calls and did nothing. So why in the world would any sane person say, yes, I'm willing to give up my safety and security, my firearms and all, to rely upon a government that has failed over and over and over and over again? The sheriffs failed. The FBI failed big time. And I'll say this over and over again.
The principal and the guards failed.
The principal failed. The guards failed. The superintendent failed. We, by the way,
all different government agencies, by the way. Every single one of them is a government agency.
By the way, we are going to start start getting more politically active down in Broward County, in Florida. You, the superintendent down there, you're gone. We're going to take you out. So we're going to put money behind your opponent. We're going to do whatever it takes to get you out of that school district as superintendent. If you think the Sheriff Israel, if you think you're going to run again, he's talking about rerunning. He got ousted by the governor, or he was removed from his position. He's talking about running again.
It's unreal.
I can assure you, you will never again be sheriff. I will make sure that we'll do whatever we can, fundraisers or otherwise, to make sure that you go nowhere near that department and do what you did again. But it's just sad when you hear about these failures. And the liberals want to continue to do this. You look at California, right? New law signed by Gavin Newsom bans them from suspending disruptive kids.
Right.
So guess what? If your child's in a classroom with an abusive kid, with a kid who's starting fights, who's causing trouble, who's disruptive, the school can't do anything to suspend him anymore. No more suspensions in California schools. So you could beat up a teacher, right? You could run down the hall and assault people. No more suspensions now. That's what the public schools. So over and over and over again, these liberals are protecting criminals. They're protecting disruptive kids. They're protecting people who shouldn't be protected, and they're not protecting the ones that should be protected.
We'll talk more about this with Andrew Pollack, but specifically the Obama administration put legislation in place that actually tried to. Now Trump has he's zinged that out of there, but specifically trying to protect these disruptive kids so it wouldn't go on their record.
That's right.
What kind of crap is that?
Yep.
And we know for a fact, like this Parkland shooting, that these kids typically have a track record of being disruptive.
You know what the sad thing is?
What's amazing to me, though, is you don't know. And the school districts have done a really good job of hiding these kids, right? Yeah. So you don't know. Right. You send your daughter, your son in, little Billy, and you've done your best. By the way, in the case of Parkland, just like many people, they specifically moved to nice neighborhoods, thinking they don't need to worry about that, right? In the case of we'll use Western New York as an example, our backyard here, I specifically tried to work hard. I waited to have a family so I could have enough money so I wasn't raising my son or daughter in the east side of Buffalo, right? Why? Because I didn't want him to get shot by a drug dealer, right? So now you think you're moving your kid out to the suburbs as it's nice, and we're taking a kid that's a mental midget, right? Having all kinds of issues and problems, and we're burying them in the system so they don't have a bad track record.
And wiping the record clean.
And you don't know it. So your little Billy's sitting right next to some kid who should, by the way, have 5 misdemeanors. One of them, or at least 2 of them, maybe putting that child into a different system.
That's right.
Hopefully getting them help and getting them medicated in the right direction. But they shouldn't be in with the rest of the children. And then we wonder, in the case of this kid gets out with a gun, and the guard, another government employee, who knows, by the way, that this kid's a troubled kid, doesn't even call code red.
No, doesn't do a thing. Doesn't do a thing. The Obama administration put that, changed some of the rules because it was supposedly racist, because too many African-American students were being expelled for violence. I got to tell you, every single one of these school shootings, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a white kid every time.
Well, it's unintended consequences.
So
right?
it's not a racist policy to say if you're a disruptive kid, you need to be removed from the school system. If you're a violent kid, you need to be. Now, are there African Americans that are violent kids? Yes.
Well,
and a lot of white kids too. Obviously,
guess what though? Who gives a crap? If you're
not
black
racist.
Or white, if you're a disruptive kid, get them out of the school.
That's right. It's not racist. It just is what it is.
If I'm a black parent,
right,
and a white kid is disruptive,
get them out.
Get them out.
That's right. Exactly. Yes,
it's a
that's
joke.
right. Yeah, the schools are failing, and they're failing everybody. White kids, black kids, and everybody. But sadly, this is the kind of stuff that liberals think about: is how can we protect criminals? In California, by the way, this is only one article of many. They're now reclassifying parolees as previously. What is it? Something along the lines of previously experienced with law enforcement or something ridiculous like that. It's ridiculous. That's not it. That's not exactly the term, but it's close to that.
Yeah,
it's close to that.
It'll by the time they're done, it'll come across as
Lord.
they were aiding, they were helping.
Right. I mean, unbelievable. You can't make this stuff up.
Johnny's got a track record of being with the L.A. Police Department. Wow, this resume looks really good.
A lot of this
he
stuff.
spent time in the back of the police car, not the front.
That's right, exactly. A lot of this stuff is just common sense, right? Yeah. Common sense to remove a violent kid from school.
These Democrats do not have common sense. We've been watching the debates. They have zero common sense, right?
Clearly.
When Joe Biden, when Gropey Joe looks like the most conservative, and he looks like a moderate up there.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, the only thing, I'm waiting for him to grab like Kamala Harris's hair, though, and be like,
sniff it.
Oh my God, you smell so good right in the middle of the debates. But when he looks like the most sane person up there,
right?
When his teeth are falling out, but the rest of them's brains are coming out of their head.
That's right.
That's a scary deal. That's a really scary deal. By the way, I welcome Trump to run against any of them. It really won't matter. Pick one.
It's not going to matter.
Pick one.
The getting back to common sense, though, you look at what's happening in Ilhan Omar's district, right? A couple weeks ago, we had an article we talked about. The FBI had a report out saying that that part of Minnesota has become a hotbed for terrorism. Now, if you recall correctly, when Trump came into office for 8 years of Obama, us on the right were screaming and yelling, saying, wait a minute, you're bringing in, tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people from war-torn countries of folks that don't share the same ideals and Western values that we do in America. So we took 50 to 100,000 Somalis, many of them from refugee camps, and we put them in Minnesota. What do we have now? Well, we have, according to the FBI, not according to Glenn Wiggle and Mike Lomas, so don't send me hate mail. According to the FBI, we have a hotbed of terrorism being exported from that district. Now we have a man who was beaten severely by a whole bunch of folks, right? 46% surge in robbery and violent crime in downtown Minneapolis compared to just a year ago.
That's crazy.
46%, right? So if there was 100 violent assaults, now there's 150 violent assaults, or 146.
By the way, the Democrats were the ones saying,
sense.
oh, no, worry about it. We're going to do the background checks on these people. These are good people. We're going to do the background checks. We're going to protect them. These are the same people that can't build a website. $100 million it took them to build a website, yet they're going to do a background check on these folks?
Earlier this year, Fox News reported that FBI statistics have found that Omar's congressional district is the terrorist recruitment capital of the United States.
Go figure.
And this is a quote from the FBI.
Go figure.
More men and boys from Somali American communities in Minneapolis have joined or attempted to join a foreign terrorist organization over the last 12 years than any other jurisdiction in the country. So let's see. So Trump comes into office, puts a ban on immigration from countries like Somalia. He gets painted in the liberal media as it's a Muslim ban. We're banning Muslims. I don't care what you call it. If it makes you feel better to call it a Muslim ban, fine. Then ban the Muslims from coming in, but ban them from places like Somalia. Ban them from places like Pakistan. Ban them from Afghanistan and all the other countries that are hotbeds of terrorism. But he called him crazy.
Yeah. By the way, if you want to support fixing the problem over there, okay, I'm okay with that.
But he was
let's put up some safety
right.
areas. Let's work with them on making. But don't bring them in here. I mean, dude, don't tell me when you can't protect our kids in their schools that you're going to be able to vet these people as you come over and not to worry about it.
Everybody with a brain in their head said this would be the outcome.
Yep.
If you bring people from foreign countries that don't share our values, what you're going to have is a breakdown of American values. Now you have a gang of people that are beating up on an elderly man, and it's happening not just in Minneapolis. It's happening all over the place. And, of course, at the same time, you've got the Democrats that are saying, oh, yeah, we're going to take your guns. We're going to take away the means that you have to protect yourself. If you're an older man or older woman or a woman in general, the whole idea of having a firearm, being able to protect yourself, is so that it's the equalizer of size, right? If you're a woman and you're facing a 6-foot-something, 250-pound attacker, guess what? I don't care any martial arts or self-defense training, unless you have a taser, pepper spray, or a firearm, you're probably going to be in serious trouble. And of course, the Democrats, again, want us to rely on the federal government, who are going to be there after the fact, including in this case. And according to the article, when the police arrived, both the victim and all the perpetrators were gone. Yeah. Nice work, right? Yeah. No offense to them. They're there to investigate crimes, not necessarily prevent them, and they'd be the first ones to tell you.
Yeah, but by the way, thousands and thousands of crimes are prevented every year with good people with guns, but the mainstream media never picks up on that.
No,
Speaking of totally incompetent, Christine Blasey Ford, attorney, admits on video client's testimony was politically motivated.
Shocking.
Wow, never would have thought that.
Yeah, millions of Americans
never would have thought
that. Thanks for the update.
This is every time I see her picture, she looks crazier and crazier, right?
Well, first of all, the best
now
part
they found
is,
a new victim this week, but apparently she doesn't know anything about it.
Right. That's the best part.
And you gotta love, like, the mainstream media just runs with it. They're like, what? There's a name? Let's go with it. Let's do no research. Let's look into nothing about it. Let's run with it and paint him out to be a bad guy.
Front page New York Times, new accuser. Right, I open up.
That's got to be a blessing
right?
for Kavanaugh, right? He's just got to be like, okay, come on. Are we not done with this?
New accuser comes
Have
out.
we not exposed how
still
crazy these people
the
are?
The liberals are still running with it. We must impeach. I saw Kamala Harris tweet yesterday. We must impeach. Kamala, FYI, that's already been debunked. You're a little bit behind the times. New York Times comes out, front page hit piece. New accuser comes out. We must impeach. We can't have this.
By the way, how does he not sue them civilly? And
I hope
win
he does.
$1 trillion.
I hope he does.
$1 trillion. I hope he puts them out of business. Because
they'll do
that
that
is
to
just
themselves
blatant
anyhow.
neglect. I mean, you're talking
unreal.
about one reason and only, which is to totally destroy the guy's family and his.
Here's how
and his
they had that
character.
article though. Somebody came forward and said, "I saw this happen," and New York Times takes that source and runs with it. By the time they get around to actually asking the victim, supposed victim, alleged victim says, I don't have any recollection of that event. I don't think I'm a victim. I'm not even sure I was there. And by the way, I'm not going to comment on record. No, I don't want to be on the record.
Right.
I don't think it happened, right? So she's denied it even happened.
Oh, I think it did.
Right.
I think you were abused 30 years ago.
That's right.
I don't
I
remember
don't really
that.
remember
No,
that.
no, I
So-
think you were.
No, you were. I saw it. I was there.
I think you were.
It just so happens that their source happens to have previously worked in the, I guess, for a law firm that works for the Clinton Foundation.
Shocking.
So So you have a Clinton operative, a Clinton attorney, right, that surfaces out of nowhere, goes to the New York Times and says, I think we should try to float that story. I'm serious about this. Let's send one of these clown reporters in the New York Times, let's send them an anonymous tip that says that we have an accuser that we saw a Kavanaugh abuse, and let's see if they contact us, and we'll give them a whole bunch of garbage and falsehoods that couldn't possibly be true, right? In fact, we'll say, me, Glenn Wiggle, I was there, obviously a lot younger, I didn't go to Yale.
We'll dress up
I
like
bet you they won't even do anything to vet it. They'll probably run with the story.
We'll dress up with like fake,
that'd be
fake
fun.
mustache, fake
That'd be
beard,
hilarious.
hat, like the pimp that exposed the
James O'Keefe. Yeah. James O'Keefe from Project Veritas.
Project Veritas.
That was the best ever.
Yes.
But anyway, I bet you if we did that, I bet you they would run with it.
Yeah.
I bet you they would.
So now
apparently.
you've got a Clinton attorney who exposed the fake story, and the attorney for Kristen Blasey Ford admits on video that the client's testimony was just all politically motivated.
For those people,
Shocker.
and I said this the other day, I said, that she's clearly either has mental issues or she's just flat out lying. And somebody said to me, don't say that. We need to believe accusers. I'm like, yes, but all of the witnesses that she claimed were there all deny it.
Right.
Every one of them, right? So it's not as if it was he said versus she said. It was she said, and these 4 people will back me up, and all 4 people are like, no, I didn't really
I don't
have
think so.
So, but the downside is, again, I think when you start to use people like this as political hits, right, or political hit men or women, it does sadly diminish everybody else's true claims, right? It delegitimizes everybody else who legitimately was sexually assaulted or whatever else, and it's just terrible. This is obviously this Christine Blasey Ford clearly was a political hit. I think she believes it. I think she was.
She might believe a lot of different things. You can see it in her eyes.
Yeah,
She's
no
a little
doubt.
bit nuts.
Anyway.
There's no doubt about
that.
Let's take a break.
Want to take a break? All right.
Yep.
So let's take a very quick break. If you're listening again, folks, thank you for listening to the Financial Guys podcast. Glenn Wiggle, Mike Lomas. We are the Financial Guys. This is the place where money meets politics. We're going to talk a bit about money on the other side of the break here. We're going to start off with Carl Icahn moving his business, another business leaving New York and going to Florida. Who could have thought this was coming,
way.
right? Shocking. But there's not going to be anybody left with many money in New York. It's going to be one giant welfare state. So we'll talk about that on the other side of the break. If you want to find out and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, again, go to our website, thefinancialguys.com. Again, thefinancialguys.com. You can find all of our social media stuff there, all the links to everything that we do. You can also find our different investment professionals. You can ask us questions through the website and use this as a resource for all things financial related. We are your one-stop financial shop, whether it's health insurance, Medicare, retirement planning, estate planning, college college planning, you name it, we can handle it for you. Use us as a resource. If you think like us, if you voted for Obama and don't regret it, call somebody else, seriously. Again, if you need us, thefinancialguys.com.
Michelle's always proud when we get all the plugs in. And by the way,
you go.
Saturday,
Yes.
Saturday, Andrew Pollack. Don't forget.
Yeah, don't forget about that. We'll be right back. A whole nother segment to go. Don't turn the dial. Well, it's not really a dial, so don't turn this off, I guess. I don't know. Keep watching. We'll be right back. Financial Guys. All right, Financial Guys, welcome back, everybody. This is the place where money meets politics, and we just talk kind of all over the place in the first segment, as usual, typically how we roll. Thanks, everybody, by the way, who had us out last week for the radio show at the Buffalo Cigar Fest. What a great opportunity to talk to some amazing people. We got to have Rocky Patel on. I mean, he's a legend.
We got to get him
in
back
the industry.
on.
Yeah, we need to have him on for a whole show, radio show.
I mean, you're
great.
like me, I think. I smoke
really
if I was to say throughout the whole year, I probably smoke like 10 cigars, right? Like out at a social setting or something like that. But he's like the Michael Jordan of cigars. I didn't know that.
What a great story,
3,500 employees, built from his garage.
Yep, amazing.
He's had a lot to say about socialism and, what America needs to be careful about, really.
Yep, no doubt. Really cool background. We also talked to Rafael Nadal with another, I can't think of company he was with, unfortunately, but second largest manufacturer of cigars in the country. I should know, not being a cigar smoker, I don't. But just great opportunity. His family's from Cuba. Got to talk to him about, his background and his upbringing. Rocky Patel, of course, is from India, so he's another
by the way,
immigrant.
from Cuba, his fear is that there's a lot of people now with Trump running the country floating from Florida to Cuba.
Back to Cuba.
Trying to get in because they got everything for free because the government runs everything there.
Speaking of which, we got to play that video.
Yeah.
A video of the San Francisco pods. I mean, that's just classic. I mean, what are we doing as far as our education in this country?
Let's end this
Don't
show.
let me forget to play that because it's priceless.
Billionaire Carl Icahn moving business from New York to Florida for
not just
lower
he's
taxes.
He's moving himself, his business, his family.
Yeah,
he's cleaning out.
He
He's
actually
done.
said he's putting together a relocation program for all of his employees.
Yep.
He offered them $50,000 to help them move, and he said he's sick of the taxes. You know what really stands out to me, though, and I think this is really, really important, is that when you look at New York, you had New York City that still survived for the most part because of the massive amount of money that was created from Wall Street, right? It was the financial engine of the world. Now, the rest of the state, and that's why geographically, if you look at New York, it's very conservative geographically, because the rest of us are going, we're not getting any of the benefits from Wall Street. Well, let me tell you something. Technology has been the ultimate equalizer. And more of these financial firms that were so dependent, we had to be on Wall Street, are going, you know what, we're leaving.
Yep.
And I'll see, we have an office down in Palm Beach. Palm Beach
And
is
Jupiter.
slowly but surely turning into the next Wall Street.
It
and
is.
it's a little different, right? Because you don't need just traders. Now technology can handle all that stuff. But before it was, I'm going to be Gordon Gekko. I'm moving to Wall Street. I'm going to be rich, right? You don't need that anymore.
He moved to Wall
Technology's
Street, and New York City makes you poor.
Yeah, but technology's been the ultimate equalizer, and I'll tell you what, it is really smacking New York State in the face. Now, we were $3 billion short last year. I can only imagine what we're going to be short next year. How many Carl Icahns need to move? How many of the
paychecks?
Paychecks,
Golisano.
How many Golisanos need to move before, at some point, New York State says, you know what, the massive amount of welfare we cannot afford anymore, which is the number one problem in this country,
don't care.
in the state. But they're going to go bankrupt.
They don't get it. They
It's
don't
going
care.
to go bankrupt. It's going at some point we're going to have to start defaulting on some of the bonds and moving forward.
Here's the sad thing. People like Carl Icahn can afford the move.
Yeah.
People that are 80 years old living in downtown Buffalo that are on a fixed income, that are a widow, cannot, right? The family that's trying to raise 2 or 3 kids on a middle-class family income cannot, right? They can't just pick up and go.
And by the way, it's funny.
Sad, but,
it's funny because what these Democrats will say is, well, the city of Buffalo is coming back, or this area is coming back. You look at the state of New York, and I want you to really take a good look at the state of New York. Are there going to be victories? You betcha. You know why? No, there won't be many. There won't be many, but guess what? There's people that have committed their lives to this area, right? And they're go-getters. And they're doing it in spite of all the redistributing of wealth that's going on.
Yep.
Is there a lot of victories? No, not nearly as many as there is in Texas, right? I mean, Texas, I think it's something like 30% of the jobs in this country are created out of Texas. Are we going to see that in New York? Absolutely not. Are you going to see little areas of victory? Yes, you will. Guess what's going to happen, though, right? And we've said this for years, and we're damn right. You want the city of Buffalo to come back? Guess what's going to happen to Jamestown, New York? Guess what's going to happen to Syracuse?
Well, that's what's
New York?
happening now.
Yeah, exactly right. Guess what's going to happen to Utica, New York? Guess what's going to happen to all these little outskirt places, right? They're going to suffer. So yes, will there be pockets? Of course there'll be pockets of success. But is it going to be a success across the state? Clearly not. And there's going to be other areas that suffer. By the way, this is exactly what we need to happen. The more that the city can suffer, although I got to tell you, I look at cities like Los Angeles and you'd think they'd figure it out.
Yeah.
They're bringing back diseases that we've never seen or haven't
That's
seen
right.
in 100 years, and they
Typhoid.
still don't get it. They still don't get it. So my guess is the city of New York will be the same. It's sad but true.
You know, sad thing is that you're right. We are drawing from Syracuse. We're drawing from Rochester, and yet Buffalo is still shrinking.
Well, the little outskirts.
But Erie County is still shrinking
Yeah.
as a county. It's
Yeah.
even drawing from those places. It's still going to go. This is great. The New York Post, which first reported on the upcoming move, reported that Icahn invited staffers to join him in Miami and offered a $50,000 relocation benefit. The paper reported that employees who want to stay in New York will be let go without severance.
Yeah.
He has about 50 employees. Half have already reportedly taken the offer.
But
They'll all
that's-
take the
that's
offer.
not the biggest
They'll all
blow,
take the
though.
offer.
That's not the biggest blow, by the way.
And 50 people.
The biggest
is taking
blow,
the
the biggest blow, by the way, to the state and the city is not the 50 people relocating. That's a big hit. Trust me. I mean, that's 50. That's like 45 more people than the Buffalo billion created as far as jobs go.
Yeah, right.
But the 50 people won't be the big deal. When you talk about a guy like Carl Icahn, he is having huge conferences, huge conventions, right? Golisano did the same thing.
Yep.
It wasn't Golisano leaving,
Funding
right?
the hospitals,
Paychecks and
funding
national
the arts
companies.
centers. Yep, right.
And the major conferences, right? The minute Golisano relocated down to Florida, all those conferences went down to Naples, including at the time, by the way, I don't even remember this, but he owned the Buffalo Sabres at the time.
Yep.
And the Buffalo Sabres actually had their national meeting down in Florida.
Right.
It's a hockey team.
Right.
Now, last I knew, I don't think they have a lot of ice down there, right?
No.
It didn't matter.
and nobody
Why?
supports the NHL
Because
teams
he
down
was
there.
down there, right?
right.
So he
They're
was
gonna-
down
they're
there. So
going to
he
him.
said, you know what? We're going to have the off-season meetings now down there. So, we're talking about building new convention centers and all this stuff. That has such a huge negative blow to the state and like Golisano, huge blow to Rochester, huge blow to Buffalo.
Well, Golisano went to Florida, and the first thing he did was he invested in the Children's Hospital down there
Yep.
with something like $10 or $20 million he committed.
Yep.
And then he created this outdoor play center, just like the Strong Museum in Rochester. He built the same thing in Florida and it's in Naples, and I've been there with my kids. It's spectacular. It's just like the Strong Museum. It's awesome. That's the Strong Museum of Play where the kids can go and do different things. It's kind of hands-on. They built a very similar facility. He was the primary funder of it down in Naples.
This state
right?
will
So
never.
you're right. That's a big spinoff.
This
that these
state
guys
will
have.
never come back until we get our arms around the welfare, and it's the corporate welfare and the everyday welfare. And unless you get your arms around that and politically attack. By the way,
doubt.
I think if somebody did politically attack it and explain the real issues that are going on with the abuse in that, I do think they'd have a shot to run against Andrew Cuomo. But it's going to have to be somebody with some big money and some big cojones for
I
sure.
don't know. I think you've got. I mean, I'm sorry, but you
Might be
folks-
too late.
You folks in New York City
Yeah,
are
it might be
dumber
too
than
late.
dirt. I don't
They
know what to
really
tell you, but not if you voted for Cuomo, and you know what? For those of you that say, how can you say that? Look, I'll tell you why I can say that. Because all of you liberals on the left say anyone who voted for Trump, anyone who supported Trump is a racist and a Nazi, which, by the way, is extraordinarily insulting. But I'll go a step further.
And not true.
Any of you who voted for Cuomo, you're dumber than dirt. Either that or you're selfish and you're doing it only for your own personal self-interest at the expense of everybody else. Nobody in this state likes Governor Cuomo.
I think
nobody can point to anything that Governor Cuomo has done to say, wow, their success, wow, the SAFE Act, that's great. The red, the red, what is it called? The red tape law. What is it? Not a red tape law. What is the
I think
the
it's
red
a-
flag laws now, right?
red flag, yeah.
What else has he done? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, he's taking money away from veterans and giving them to illegal aliens so we can pay for their college.
Yeah.
Who supports this stuff? Who supports full-term abortion? 80-something% of people in America, almost 90% 100% think that waiting until the baby is coming out of the birth canal is probably too late to have an abortion and kill that baby.
But yet they're still voting for him.
But so I don't understand this.
By the way,
I
the
don't get it.
school teachers hate him, right?
I don't
He's
get it.
taking control
What's the matter
out of
with
the
you
school,
people?
out of the teachers and away from the teachers, and basically said we're going to standardize this test. And the teachers are totally pissed off. Yet the teachers union still support him, right?
And if you're
80% of people are against full-term abortion, but apparently he gets back in, right? We've got
Unreal.
millions of registered gun owners in this state. He wants to take your guns, and he still gets voted in.
Right.
You just got to ask yourself, who is this? What are people thinking? And I think it does come back to them being more dumb than they are selfish.
And let me say this: for those that are in a trade union or work for the AFL-CIO or whatever else, and they say, "Well, he's pro-union." Let me just tell you. Let me give you guys
Not
a hint.
pro-union.
When the businesses are gone,
Yes.
okay. When the businesses are gone. And there's nobody left there's no union there's no jobs, guys.
Yeah.
You can be the best union in the world. Guess what? If you're a union worker at New Era, your job, bye-bye. It's gone, right?
By the way,
so it's going to affect you too from an economic standpoint as the jobs go away, as the companies go away, as the car icons move. Even if you're in a public sector union, where's the money going to come to pay for you guys?
Yeah.
There's going to have to be state employee layoffs. So I'm telling you.
And by the way, a readjustment of pensions. And you're going to see Chicago is going to be first.
Absolutely.
Illinois will be first.
Right.
And then it'll be followed by
right.
Either New York or California.
That's right.
There'll be a readjustment of those pensions. And to your point with these union workers, you pay taxes too. You should be just as pissed off that 35% of the welfare checks in the state are getting cashed outside the state. That's your money. That's Billy with a Corona today on Myrtle Beach.
That's right.
As you're going to work welding something
That's
or
right.
plumbing something or laying electrical lines or whatever you do.
Absolutely.
I'd be more pissed off because every dollar counts. When you're making $50,000-$60,000 a year,
That's right.
Your Carl Icahn, it doesn't matter as much. He's doing it to make a political statement. God bless him, right?
Yep.
That's really what he's doing. Because at the end of the day, when you're a billionaire or a multi-billionaire, what's the 7%? It's a lot of money, I know, but it's not cheap. What's the 9%?
Almost 9.
Sorry, what's the 9%, right? What's 2% amongst friends, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is it's a crap load of money,
right.
but it's not changing his lifestyle, right? His private jet's still there. He's doing it for a political statement, and God bless him. But you're a union carpenter, you're a union electrician. 10%'s a big deal,
That's
right?
But
every job's a big deal.
But
it's
if you want your wages to go up, if you want more opportunities, if you want better benefits, all that comes when you have a thriving economy, okay? New York has a collapsing economy, not a thriving economy. So look, again, we're on the same page, right? We're on the same side of this. We all want better jobs, better schools, more money in our own pocket. That comes with conservative types of principles. Smaller government, lower regulations, right? Not this state, though. So if you're a union member and you're pulling the lever for Andrew Cuomo, I want you to stop and think for a second, okay? Who really has your best interest at heart? Do you think Cuomo really gives a crap whether or not you have a job tomorrow or not? He's going to pay you lip service because he gets the big checks from union bosses, which are coming from your dues, by the way. But if you really want to have better opportunities, higher wages, better benefits, that all comes with a better, more robust economy. Let's take a look at the places that are thriving in this country, right? Texas, we just mentioned, Florida, Tennessee. All those states have one thing in common. They're led by Republicans that are smaller government. Well, not anymore. But lower taxes and lower regulations.
Look at some of the areas that are like supporting fracking and these little towns where they don't. Then these folks aren't unionized, but the McDonald's workers are making $25 an hour because of the demand. If we can just end it with the video you showed before about the dumbing down of America.
Yes,
this is really priceless, by the way. We'll end it with this. Don't forget Andrew Pollack going to be joining us. Of course, his daughter Meadow, part of the Parkland shooting. He'll be on the radio on Saturday talking about safety, all the problems that ended up happening in Parkland. But if your son or daughter is going to school, you're going to want to tune into this because pretty amazing when you look at all the different layers of incompetency that went down.
You'll be amazed, and then you're going to want to get very, very, very involved.
Yes.
You're going to want to get very involved at the school board level to try to change some of these policies. And, of course, in New York, what New York just did is made it even easier for your child to be a victim.
Yeah.
Because they just outlawed arming teachers in the classroom.
Yeah.
Now, again, we'll talk about this. No
and-
one's saying that every teacher has to be armed. We're not. But look, there's ex-military that are teachers now. There's ex-law enforcement that are teachers.
There are folks in the district my kids go to school that are highly trained in weapons and have gone on for advanced training, and I know that for a fact, and they are teachers in the district, and I would 1,000% support my daughter sitting in that classroom with them on a day-to-day basis. That's the classroom I would want my daughters to be in.
Absolutely.
If something happened.
All right, so this is a CNN special, little short clip that's talking about these new pods in San Francisco, because you either live in a tent or you share and you cohabitate with other people, or you're a gajillionaire tech guru like Mark Zuckerberg. There's no in between anymore.
Which Mark's house has got a nice wall around it.
Absolutely. In fact, he bought the whole block.
Yep.
So
Bought
he
the
could
whole
kick out all the
block, bought the neighbor's house,
Yeah.
knocked it over.
Yep. Yeah, didn't put other people in those houses.
No.
Just knocked them over so he
No.
could have more room.
Nobody
But this is
living.
classic.
Just like the Obama, the new mansion, the third, is that the third mansion for the Obamas
Yes,
that
it
they
is.
own now? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Just like the third mansion that they bought in Nantucket, nobody else is living there. There's no illegal immigrants that have been invited in.
Yeah, he's using. I mean, the Clintons got who knows how many houses they have.
Yeah. Nobody
Apparently not
living.
housing any
No,
illegals.
nobody outside of the servants that probably aren't even earning minimum wage.
I'm sure.
Yeah, are living
This
there.
is the best here.
PodShare is affordable shared housing that we build across Los Angeles, and here in San Francisco is our first site. The idea, it's membership-based housing, so if you book a pod, you can stay across the whole network of locations.
This is the best. $1,200 a month for a pod, by the way.
Yeah.
I was born in the USSR in 1985. My whole concept was like the idea of the government giving you everything in a communist state.
Liked
What
it.
if you could subscribe to a housing
Can you pause
membership
that?
and
What a
have
moron.
Yeah.
I liked it, but we left.
Right.
I liked it.
Right.
Think about that. Well, you know what I really liked about the USSR? The government gave us everything, but we got the hell out.
Did anybody? but here's the thing with her. Did you? Okay, so I really liked.
Everybody
I
knocking
like-
her head
yeah.
and say, "Is there just
So-
wood in there?"
Yeah, so just like the way the communist government gave you everything. Did you not see did nobody teach this girl history of what
Right.
happened with the
Right.
she was born in the USSR in 1985. In 1985, right? So in 1990 they collapsed, right? They collapsed. The USSR collapsed
Right.
and ceased to exist. Why?
Couldn't get toilet paper.
Communism.
Couldn't get
right?
toilet paper.
You couldn't get
No
automobiles.
electricity.
You couldn't get toilet paper.
there
They
wasn't-
had food shortages, okay? In 1985, people were suffering in the USSR like they're suffering today in Cuba, right? You have no idea.
Does it ever hit these people though that for them to get something,
Unbelievable.
it doesn't just show up?
Well, for
it's
her it
got to
does.
be taken from somebody else
for
to
her
give
does.
it to you.
For her, though. This is great. It gets even better.
Yeah.
I'm going to play that again just so
This
you
is
can
great.
really hear what she says.
My whole concept was like the idea of the government giving you everything in a communist state. What if you could subscribe to a housing membership and have all your needs met? In the fridge, there should just be like cereal, ramen, collegiate foods, and there should always be toothpaste and toilet paper and just these basic things that you just need to
It
live.
just
Like they
shows
should
up.
just be.
It just shows up. Did you listen to her though?
It's called living at home, right?
Yeah.
Like
It
it's
just
called
showed up.
living at
Yeah.
home.
My
kids-
7-year-old, she's
right,
got that.
Right. My kids probably figured out. I just show up. There's food in the fridge. There's ramen noodles in
This
the
is great.
cupboard. There's
This is
toothpaste in the
great.
bathroom.
This is great.
It's called living with mom and dad.
This is great. At
For
some
God's
point, though,
sakes.
at some point, you got to be the one that moves out and does that for yourself. Because this is great.
We gotta
It just-
follow
It
this.
just shows up. Ramen noodles. At least she ramen noodles. I mean,
We got to follow this.
look
for
at if the
a
government
year
is going to
and
give
see where
anything
we're
out.
at.
If the Democrats are going to give everything out, if you want to win this next
Oh, my
election,
God.
don't forget about $1,000 a month. Forget about free health care, Medicare. Ramen noodles.
Right.
Ramen noodles
So-
would be
Right.
something that I might consider voting for.
So here's the concept. You come into these things, you pay $1,200 a month, you get basically a bunk, right?
Yeah.
You have somebody living above you in a bunk, somebody living below you. I got to tell you, the genius of it is the person who owns this thing,
Yeah.
I mean, the kind of rents they're probably getting is
Yeah.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
right? But here's the thing.
It's literally a pot.
At
I mean,
what
it looks like a
point-
dumpster
Right.
with a bed in it.
At what point, though, the best part is, at what point is it going to, because I must, so let me just get this straight. So they all get together. Let's say that there's, let's say it's a building and there's, I don't know, let's say there's 10, 12 people living in the building, right?
Well, apparently you can switch pots.
You can, oh yeah, you can
Any
run
what
with-
you want. You
Who's
just
filling the
register.
fridge? I guess my question. Who's filling the fridge? Who?
I probably
Who's
didn't think
putting
that
the
through yet.
toothpaste in the bathroom? Right?
Oh, it doesn't
is
show up?
Is it? Who?
It just doesn't magically show up?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess is it the people that are renting the pods that are responsible for supplying the kitchen? I can only see how that's going to go. 'Cause
she-
I got to tell you, I was in a fraternity in college, And that fraternity had, I don't know, probably 30, 40 people that lived in the fraternity house. I never lived in the fraternity house. You know why? Because they lived like animals, number one. Second reason,
Because the toilet paper just didn't show up.
no, right, exactly. Because there was constantly like no food in the house, no toilet paper. Nobody in the house was good. In fact,
I think
it got to a point.
I think you actually just nailed big government, right? Because it's supposed to be there.
Right.
The thought is nice.
The thought is
the
nice.
thought is nice.
Yeah,
right?
nobody told her it didn't work in the USSR.
Yeah.
Nobody gave her that little
right.
memo.
Right.
Your parents left for a reason.
The thought is nice to say, hey, look, I'd like to just not work and just show up and there's food in the fridge.
Yeah.
Electricity's on. Everything's
Awesome.
good. The thought is great. I love the concept. It's just failed miserably all throughout the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great.
Every time it's been tried.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good on paper,
Yeah.
but honestly, it does not work. This is just classic. Let me play a little more of this.
Sorry, I can't not interrupt her.
And that's kind of the concept of pod share. You just share pods across a network with people that become your friends.
Your friends. Or a rapist who shows up.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Or the violent illegal alien that LA has let out of jail for.
Or the MS-13 gang member.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, this ought to go great. We have to follow
Just
this
sleep
for
with
a
one
year.
eye open. That's all
right.
you need to do.
Yeah.
Look at there'll be ramen noodles in the fridge.
Right.
You just might get stabbed in the back during the night.
That's right. We have to follow this for a year. We'll be reporting back on this.
See how that works
Every
out.
3 months or so, we should just check in
We'll
with these
see how that
pods
works out.
and see how things are going.
I'll be curious. You know what we should do is throw a little cash into a little like a just not a lot of money just for fun
Like
to
a
see
pool?
what diseases come out of this.
Oh, yeah, that ought to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
and
thinking,
then what they do with the pods when they're absolutely destroyed because nobody actually worked for a living to actually
Take care of them.
Take care of
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great, isn't
That
it?
would be wonderful.
Yeah, unreal.
This location has mountains
Yeah.
This guy's actually a good kid. He's just a participant here.
currently being used.
Just walked in and during the video, this one's currently being used. Apparently, they don't have doors on the bathrooms there. I don't know.
Imagine that.
Apparently, this one's being used. Oh,
could you
sorry.
imagine? Could you
If you're
imagine?
living in a house, though,
With-
with
with-
like 12 people, wouldn't
in
you
a
lock
pod?
the bathroom door?
But I can't imagine not having my privacy like that.
I don't know.
I just can't imagine not having my privacy.
It's
like that.
hilarious. She's just the best. So the whole idea
Yeah.
of just like the whole concept of the USSR, like
What she really
having the
liked
government
about
give
it.
you everything.
But
That made a
before
lot
her
of sense.
family fled.
You were
What
born
she
in
really liked about the
1985.
USSR.
5 years later, the whole thing collapsed.
Oh my
the
God!
The whole
You know what?
economy collapsed.
They really liked that about Venezuela too, and now they're eating their dogs.
That's right.
so-
They love the idea. They love the concept of getting oil and gas for free.
Oh my
right?
God.
They don't love it
Oh
so
my God.
much anymore.
That was better, by the way, than
Unreal.
Gropey Joe's teeth falling out. last
Gropey
week.
Joe.
That ended it on a good note.
Unreal.
there.
We had other things I wanted to get to with the debate. We're not going to get to it. We did talk about it last Saturday on the show. If you want to hear our commentary from last week's debate, go to our go to something.
On demand.
Go to on
On
demand.
demand, yeah.
Radio.com app. You can listen to the radio shows that are recorded there. You can probably get it from our website as well, thefinancialguys.com. Just some quick highlights from that. Economy and energy, they have a hell bent to destroy the country, clearly.
Yep.
If you looked at
They're
the
going to
policies
shut down
from
everything.
Kamala Harris.
They're going to shut down everything, including
all
the
down.
meat you're going to eat.
That's right.
But then they're not sure because Booker said, well, we never said that, but yet
Kamala, like 20 minutes earlier, said
not
that.
even. Like
Yeah.
it was like 12
Yeah.
minutes before that or 10 minutes
Right.
before that. She said, yep, we're going to control the meat you eat. And
Yes.
then O'Rourke, of course, was going to just take care of all the guns. He was
That's
going
right.
to take them out.
Biden, this is a direct quote
I
from
got
Biden.
by the way, I got a great idea. They want to take away all the guns. Is right?
Yeah.
Beto
Yeah.
said, I want to
Yeah.
take away all the
Yeah.
guns. Why don't we start? And
this?
I'm willing to do this. No, I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to do this. Beto, why don't you start with the goddamn criminals first?
Yeah, that might
Why
be
don't we
good.
do that? Why don't you start? If you can do me this, if you can get the illegal guns off the streets, and let's pick an area with like real restrictive gun control rules, like I don't know, Chicago, right? Why don't you do this, Beto? Show up in Chicago with your buddies, the Obamas. Oh, yeah, they moved out of the bad areas of Chicago. Okay. But why don't you show up in Chicago and see if you can get the bad guys' guns first?
Yeah.
If you can do that, I'm willing to talk. But I want them first. It's a good social experiment for you.
They talked to the police chief in Chicago, and the guy said flat out, he goes, we know who these people are.
Yeah.
Because we've arrested them dozens of times.
Yeah.
So the police keep arresting people for violent crimes. They put them in jail.
Yep.
And the liberals who run the criminal justice system say, well, we don't really want to prosecute
Yeah.
people like Jussie Smollett.
I mean, he only
right?
broke
No.
into it. They
We don't
only
wanna
stole
prosecute
cars.
people.
It really wasn't violent.
He only shot somebody down the street, but
Yeah.
the guy didn't die yet, so he really can't try him for murder.
Yeah.
So we'll
And
let him
then-
back on the street.
and then, by the
over over and over and over again. And the criminals know it, by the way.
Yeah,
then
they kill 4 people in a drug raid, right, or a drug whatever breakdown, and then the story in the Chicago Tribune says, "Geez, we're really shocked at this. We know, but he did have a criminal record."
Right.
And, he was arrested in 1997, 2005. We're really shocked, though, that he went in and killed 4 people. We just really find it hard to believe that he was back on the streets and he did it again.
The guy in downtown Buffalo, I'll never forget this, that shot
City Grill.
people.
City
shot
Grill.
8 people at the City Grill. 4 were killed and 4 were wounded. I remember seeing his rap sheet in the Buffalo News.
It was unreal.
He had like 8 prior or 10 prior convictions for assault, 2 prior gun charges. Now, mind you, if you're a law-abiding citizen and you have 1 too many bullets in your magazine in New York, you're probably going to jail, right? If you're a law-abiding citizen and you defend your home from multiple attackers with an unregistered AR-15, you're probably going to jail.
Yeah.
However, if you're a hoodlum from the ghetto, you can shoot 8 people repeatedly, come in and out of jail, have multiple assaults, multiple drug offenses, multiple offenses with unlawful firearms, multiple offenses of shooting people, and they still let you right back out on the street.
Yeah.
It's something is seriously wrong in the brains of liberals.
Yeah, by the way, in states like California, they may not even be arresting you soon, so you can rob as many things as you want.
Well, Joe wants to do it at a national level.
You just don't hurt anything.
Yeah, no. Biden wants to do it at a national level.
Oh, that's right.
He said
I think it's California. No, it's Joey.
No, it's Joe. It's Gropey Joe. This is a direct quote
Well,
from
Gropey Joe wants that because he continues to touch people inappropriately.
Well, it works great for him. Yeah. So that makes a lot of. Now I get it.
Now I get it, right?
Yeah, now it all comes together.
Yeah.
Gropey Joe said, this is a quote.
That's a non-violent crime, smelling somebody you don't know is hair.
Right.
Yeah.
No one should be in jail for a non-violent crime.
Right.
That is exactly what Gropey Joe said. And during the debate, no one should be in jail for a non-violent crime. Yeah, I guess that works out great for him.
Yeah, let's go out and rob those cars. Rob a bank. Just don't kill anybody.
Anyway. All right, folks. That's going to do it for us. Thanks again for listening. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to our podcast. You'll get all the alerts when new ones come out. If you're watching this on YouTube, again, hit the subscribe button below. Click the like button as well. That helps us quite a bit. And don't forget to hit our website, thefinancialguys.com. You can find all of our social media links to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Maybe Snapchat at some point, but I don't understand Snapchat.
No, I don't think Snapchat.
Probably not.
Rochelle's good. No.
Rochelle's going, no. I don't get the whole thing.
Well,
so
Snapchat
let me get this straight.
just makes you look
I'm going to send you a
weird.
picture or a video, but then it's going to disappear after you watch it once. Like, it always seems like my kid's like, oh, quick, watch it. Oh, no, it's gone.
But
am
I wrong by that? Isn't Snapchat the one that makes you like the filters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, but if you want to find out what we do for a living, we do manage money for a living. If you want to find out our different departments, whether it be college planning, estate planning, retirement planning, investment planning.
Medicare
our folks,
Mondays, by the way,
Paul
in
Meeks
Buffalo.
on CNBC again yesterday, I think he was on, right?
He was.
On Monday. So this comes out the day after we
And we
record.
do have Medicare Mondays, independent Medicare reps. If you're in the Western New York area, make sure you take advantage of Medicare Mondays where we have workshops. We can go to our website for all that information.
Yep, thefinancialguys.com. Thanks again for listening, folks, or watching. On behalf of Mike Lomas, I'm Glenn Wiggle. We're the Financial Guys. This is a place where money meets politics, and we'll talk to you next week here on the Financial Guys podcast. Don't forget, Saturday, Andrew Pollack on the radio show, 1 to 3 on WBEN, 1 to 2 on WFTL.